Some people hate Hollywood not just because of their so-called elitism, but also their defense of people like Roman Polanski. But there are a few celebrity types who seem to understand that sex with a 13-year-old equals rape. For a reason I don't understand, this is still a debate. And here to help clear this up are attorney Gloria Allred, Jami Floyd, anchor of Best Defense, and In Session, and John Farr, contributor to the Huffington Post. Okay, let's start with Sharon Tate's sister, okay, Deborah Tate, said yesterday. She said, there is rape, and then there is rape. It was determined that Roman did not forcibly have sex with this woman. Gloria, rape is rape, isn't it?
Well, of course, nothing was determined because he entered a plea. He entered a plea to unlawful sexual intercourse, which is a felony, which is a crime. He admitted at that time that he understood she was 13 years old, and he confessed to a crime. And even if he hadn't confessed to it, in the grand jury testimony, there was a lot of testimony from the victim, Joy, that, in fact, he had given her Quaaludes, that he had given her champagne.
Yeah.
There was semen in her panties, that he had engaged in various acts, for example, sodomy. So I think that we have to understand that this was a crime.
Yeah, but why are they saying, why is the sister of Sharon Tate saying that, you know, there's rape and there's rape? What kind of thinking is that?
I think I'm not a lawyer, first of all. I'm a movie guy. But
you play one on TV.
I play one on TV. But I think that there is a difference between statutory rape and classic rape, where there's violence and I don't mean to say classic rape, but I mean where there's violence, where somebody is forcibly and violently pinned down and is struggling violently, etc. Statutory rape is with a minor.
There are. I mean, this is what's so hard about the law. Yeah. You know, there's the emotional reaction to what we think of as stranger violent rape, and then there are the classic rational classes of law. There is Class D felony rape, which is what this was under the plea agreement, and it was unlawful sexual relations with a minor is what he ultimately pled to. He was originally charged with sodomy and rape of a child. Those are very different crimes. Either way, it's disgusting. It's disgusting either way.
Right, okay. Check out what Kirstie Alley wrote on Twitter yesterday. She said, rape is rape. This is one Hollywood star who does not celebrate or defend Roman Polanski. Is it high time someone came out and said this in Hollywood? I mean, we haven't heard this yet.
Here's what I don't get. I'm a criminal defense attorney. It's my job, and Gloria, you know this, right? Because we go back a long way. It is my job to defend people like Roman Polanski. I don't understand why anybody else would be. I don't understand why the A-list glitterati comes out and defends this guy. Either you're silent or you're a criminal defense attorney defending this guy. I don't get it.
Well, I was stupid enough to defend him, and that's why I'm here.
Why don't you answer the question?
Let me answer the question.
When
I wrote my thing on Huffington, I was assuming he'd be expedited. First of all, I mean, we'd just gotten the news.
Extradited. Not expedited.
He could be expedited too.
Well, let's expedite it and extradite it. Let's do both.
I'm a little nervous here. Now that he would be extradited and then he would go to trial.
Yeah.
All I was suggesting was that given all the different factors of the case, that the trial should be handled expeditiously and that there should be some leniency shown. I think if you take a 76-year-old man 30 years after the fact, when the victim doesn't even want this to be reopened, and put him behind bars for the rest of his life, I don't think that serves anybody.
What do you say to that, Joy?
You're saying when you get to sentencing,
I'll be right with
that
you.
the judge should consider all factors as they would in any case, and that I agree with.
Okay, go ahead, jump in, Gloria.
Well, Joy, of course, Roman Polanski has avoided the day of sentencing, but he can run. Obviously, he can't hide because now he's in custody, and I hope that he is going to be brought back to Los Angeles for this. And let's remember that he has not been sentenced, which means that there are still felony charges against him pending, meaning rape by drug, perversion, which is oral copulation, giving controlled substances to minors, to a minor, sodomy, and other charges. So these are very, very serious crimes, and Hollywood should not be minimizing them. If this were a day laborer instead of a famous movie director, a rich and famous one, would they be rallying around and saying the day laborer from another country should somehow get leniency or mercy?
If he were Joe the plumber, he'd be thrown into jail. But, you know, Peter Fonda, for instance, told a Zurich radio station that, this is what Peter Fonda said, Polanski is, quote, not responsible for killing, and noted the victim has asked for the case to be dismissed. Now, murder is bad, but rape is just is in a certain way, it's a violation. It kills the soul. It's a kind of murder. So I think that's why people are not happy about this, and they want him to be punished.
I just think the victim's voice should be heard here, and I think it's important. Also, I think it's important.
Well, but the victim's voice can be heard at the victim impact sentencing. But this is not her case. It's the case of the people of California versus Roman Polanski, and he committed a crime or crimes, if that's proven, against the people of the state of California. And that is what's important. And by the way, the victim herself has never recanted her testimony to the grand jury about what he did to her, and that she was in fear, and that she
but she has filed papers asking Gloria for this to be expedited. She has asked that this is ruining her life, and she wants this to move on.
Okay, I want you to listen. This was shocking to me. Listen to what former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown said on the Today Show. Watch.
The judge had already agreed what the sentence would be. When the judge became concerned, as a result of having to run for election and otherwise, I think it became clear that the judge was going to go in a different direction.
Gloria, what's up with Willie?
Well, Willie says that he has been friends with Roman Polanski for 30 years. So maybe he's got, maybe he's not quite as objective as he might be if he weren't friends with Roman Polanski for 30 years. But all I can say is it's easy to attack a judge who is no longer alive and cannot defend himself. Let Roman Polanski come back, and then he can make his argument about judicial misconduct. My guess is that's not going to be a successful argument, but he's got to come back and make it.
Go ahead, John.
Everyone should see the documentary Wanted and Desired.
I saw it.
Now, in that documentary, you have the lead prosecutor and the defense attorney both saying that the trial was basically a sham, and the lead prosecutor, who is a Mormon, imagine, a straight-laced Mormon, saying, I can almost understand why Mr. Polanski chose to flee. Now, isn't that rather unusual?
Well, he's a man. He's a man. The guy is a man. Let's just go there for a second.
He's also a Mormon, for God's sake.
He may be a Mormon, but he's a man first.
Okay.
Then he's a Mormon.
I want to get back to what you said about Peter Fonda, and with all due respect to my former mayor, Willie Brown, rape is a crime of violence. And this is something I think to this day many men, not all men, do not understand. It is a crime of violence.
Yes.
And they don't think of it, many men do not. And Gloria, I know you and I agree on this in that way. And that's part of the problem in discussing this case. I think, and I say this as a criminal defense attorney, I don't understand why Roman Polanski just doesn't come back and face the music. This is hanging over his head. Let's get on with it.
He doesn't want to.
He's got to come back and fight it out and clear it up once and for all.
Listen, if he was a priest, they would have sent him to another parish.
Father
Thanks
Polanski.
to my panel very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.